days does it take to open your eyes? How much time has to pass to feel as if you've forgotten who you are? The shifting between you and who you used to be is perpetual, fluid-like in nature. Pleasures and distastes only fade with time, melting into the surreal persona of who you think you are, instead of who you actually are. The boundaries of my world are endless. A fluid form constantly evolving, changing to its environment. I am fear. I am panic. I am delusion.
She looks at me like she doesn't even know who I am anymore.
If you refuse to take part in the dream, you wake up.
Lucas! Leave me alone! Lucas, do not try!
A cold sweat. That chill. A reminder that what you just lived isn't real. There's no sweat.
Michaela, please!
No chill. Just more of the same. You ready? I can't wake up.
As ready as I can be, for whatever this is.
Maybe this isn't a dream.
There's Michael. Hey, greetings from Las Vegas. Good afternoon.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks so much for talking to me today.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me on.
Well, let's talk about Parallax. It seems that dreams and the concept of reality is like a reoccurring theme in Parallax.
Definitely. As you know, the whole film's kind of metaphorically built around this framework of this mentally ill young artist. And, mental illness is like a concept that's really close to me. I suffer from bipolar. So there was a lot of like personal effect and personal themes that I really tried to push through Parallax. And that's why like this dream world, this hyper-realistic dream state is so present in Parallax all the time. It's this indistinguishable difference between reality and your perception of reality.
And one of my fears is drowning. And so it's such a horrible way to die. And your character, Naomi, just keeps dreaming about drowning over and over again. And I just felt like I couldn't breathe during those scenes.
It was really like, obviously, a challenge in some ways. This is a low budget film, and it was a challenge in some ways to really push those underwater sequences to what they needed to be, exactly to reach the effect of what you're talking about, to have the audience so immersed that there is like this gasp, this hold breath while we wait to see what happens next.
And tell me the challenges of shooting underwater, because I hear that lighting underwater like that, the lighting is a disaster. It's just so difficult to make that.
Yeah. So I had actually prepped. So I'm a line producer, typically by trade. That's my my 9 to 5. For anyone that doesn't know, that's all the technical crap behind the scenes that nobody actually wants to do. It's the thankless part of filmmaking. And so I had actually done a shoot a couple of years ago that was underwater, and they basically given me no money, and they were like, better make it look good. The rest of the movie's like $1 million. So, better make it look good. And so I had to come up with a really clever way. And so I basically took what I learned on that shoot and applied it to this. And we ended up shooting this in like a big residential pool. And I hired somebody to create like a black backdrop that we put underwater. And I hired underwater riggers to create this black backdrop. And then we just had her fall into this pool and threw a couple lights up. And that's how we were able to control and create this really dynamic, contained look.
And you're a big fan of micro photography and extreme close-ups. Where did that come from?
I honestly can't tell you. I feel like it heralds somewhere between watching too much David Fincher as a child, and this first scarring time I watched Requiem for a Dream that just burned into my memory. Even though I don't even remember like shots in the movie, I just remember that movie full of micro, and macro photography, close-ups.
And also with your direction, sometimes you shoot off center and also shoot from below a lot.
Yeah, so the reason I did that, this is actually the first, I did a short a couple years ago that kind of explored some of the cinematography, but basically as I came to flesh myself out as an artist, I directed a movie in 2014. It was very traditional. It's called God Forgive Us, very traditional drama. And when the film was done, it's a great movie. I'm really proud of it, but like, it just wasn't me stylistically, aesthetically. And what I ended up, between the 6 years of directing that feature and this feature, basically what I did is I dug in and I tried to find who I am. And through this, I found a lot of this, this mental illness defining my artistic identity. And I really wanted to portray that into a visual language that communicated these feelings and these emotions and these emotional states without having to say it, without having to say, this is what the character is experiencing. I just wanted you as an audience member to not care about that stuff, to just immerse, to like be so hypnotized and immersed into it that you are experiencing those emotions. And part of doing that was creating these compositions.
And while watching your film, I feel it requires multiple viewings to understand everything that's going on. But as a filmmaker, did you put like little hints in there of what the outcome, without saying what the spoilers, for the movie, did you put hints throughout the movie that if you watch it multiple times, you can tell maybe it kind of points to what the resolution is? Because I even noticed a dream catcher in their apartment in the very beginning. So there's this little things that I didn't know if you were like dropping things around there for your audience to kind of figure out maybe on a second viewing.
Absolutely. I mean, I view the job as a director as very much being like a craftsman. And a true craftsman can sit there and continually hone the work over and over. And the way I work is every part of the process is the most important part of the process, whether it's developing it in prep. If I'm on set, then being on set is the most important part of the process. If I'm in the edit, that's the most important part of the process. And so what I do is I literally just throw myself 110% into every phase of this process. Like right now I'm selling and distributing the film. So that's the most important part of the process. But once upon a time, what you're specifically referencing is this edit. It's this edit formulation. I probably watched Parallax over 300 times in the edit and built every layer with my editor and with my team, with my producers.
Because you're questioning reality throughout the whole film. It's just sometimes it gets so frustrating, think you know what's going on and then you don't, so I just didn't know. I just know you had to have something in there to give clues, on multiple viewings. So. Absolutely.
And that's part of the fun of it is like, it's got to be a challenge for me too. When I don't feel challenged when I'm in the edit or on set, it feels like I'm not doing my due justice. I'm not doing the due diligence of the job and trying to make it as evocative as possible without trying to get to this point where you're patronizing the genre or, the intellectual side of it.
And tell me where you found Naomi. Tell me about casting her. How did you find her?
So Naomi actually came to me. She worked as a set dresser on the short film that I referenced that I had kind of explored some of these cinematic compositions with a couple of years ago. And she kind of came out of the woodwork when I was auditioning for this, and the character wasn't even written for her. I mean, just they're coincidentally named the same. We had originally decided we were going to probably go with a different actress. She came in last minute, like a couple weeks before shooting, just blew me and my fiance, who's also a producer, Brooke, out of the water. And we were just like, we offered her the role on the spot, and she just fitted. It was just perfect. It was just a weird, coincidental kind of thing.
And her character is a painter. And I didn't know, did you paint all those paintings that you see throughout the movie?
No. So the paintings were actually split between my art director, Ashley, and actually Naomi, who's a phenomenal painter as well. And so she actually, the fig tree painting in the film that you see, she actually painted that while on set, like in between takes and like, waiting for us to get set up and stuff. And then a lot of the other paintings were done in prep by my art director.
And so you're kind of wear every hat in terms of filmmaking. So out of all the aspects of filmmaking, which is your favorite? What do you like? What do you enjoy the most?
I honestly think ultimately I'm a producer, and directing comes second to that. I love the process of creating, of developing, and curating, whether it's working with creatives or just working with a team of creatives. Because even how I function as a director is very collaborative in nature. I work with my director of photography, I work with my creative producers, I work with my ADs, all my department heads, and I'm very, very overly collaborative to the point of, some people might think it's flawed, but I just feel like film it's a glue. It melts all together, and the perfect film doesn't have this one hierarchical key who's making all these decisions. It's this collaborative effort, and that's how you make a film like Parallax. That's how you do what we did with very little.
And for someone who has achieved such success with this feature film with Parallax, as a film school dropout, is that true?
Yes. I only went for one semester, and they told me I wasn't allowed to use the cameras I wanted to use, and so I said, "Well, screw this. I'm gonna go make my own movies, guys. Thanks, though."
And so, what's next for you? What do you got planned? Another thriller, or do you want to try something else? Do you stick with one genre, or do you like to try different things?
I do a lot of stuff. I'd like to think I'd probably stick in like the art house, thriller, dark drama area, but not really like anything beyond that. I have a couple projects up and running next. Both are thrillers. One's more of an action thriller. One's more of like a horror suspense. And so honestly, it just kind of has to do with the pandemic and, you know, what happens with our ability to actually like get back on set.
And also, I know you were determined to put Parallax in theaters, but you know, with everything going crazy right now, if there's no shame in video on demand. I mean, big studio films are getting huge returns on that. Plus, for filmmakers like you, this is your chance to shine when normally you would get lost in a shuffle of all these films.
Absolutely, and honestly, we're pushing it even farther because there is no theatrical competition with the studios right now, and even with a lot of the other indie studios, we're still pushing for our exhibition window, you know, our theatrical, our outdoor screenings, our drive-ins. We're in talks with drive-ins right now all across the United States. And, you know, we did have our theatrical delayed because of COVID. And now we're kind of, you know, given some question marks from the venues as to when we're going to get going again. But, you know, that's not going to stop us. We're still going to be in drive-ins. We're going to be outdoor screenings, outdoor theaters all across the U.S. So, you know, if there's somewhere, just reach out. We'll try to play it, you know, we'll try to place it near you.
Well, congratulations on your film, man. I enjoyed it thoroughly. And when you have a chance, come visit us in Las Vegas. Where are you at right now?
I'm in L.A.
Yeah, so just, I'll come to L.A., you come to Vegas, because I'm down to get to L.A. too, so.
I'm a hop, skip, and a throwaway. So, you know, just I'm around.
Awesome, man. Well, congratulations, and thanks for talking to me.
Hey, thanks, Jeffrey.
You bet. Hit me up if you come to Vegas, man. We'll meet. We'll have a drink or something.
I will. Definitely.
Right.
Thank you for having me on.
Thank
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.